Good morning and welcome back to Mobility Matters. I'm your host, Javier Betancourt, Executive Director of the Citizens Independent Transportation Trust, or CITT. We're the agency of Miami-Dade County charged with overseeing your half-penny sales tax for transportation and implementation of the People's Transportation Plan. So as the name implies, Mobility Matters is a program to discuss transportation, mobility issues, projects, and programs with some key folks involved in that industry. That includes, of course, our elected officials who are very much involved at the policy level. You've seen many local elected officials on the program before. Today, for the first time, we have state legislators. We invited everyone in the Dade delegation to come join us and talk about their districts and the transportation issues they're involved in. And I really want to thank Representative Jim Mooney, who is here representing district. Remind me what the district is.
120.
120, which I think is the last district, right? It runs 1 through 120.
Yep, it's number one, and I hold the entire state together.
And by the way, I think it is the most interesting district in the state. I was looking at the map, and you cover all the cool spots. You got the Florida Keys, you got the Everglades, you got Biscayne National Park, Homestead, agricultural areas, right?
It's very eclectic and it's very dynamic, and also very cool to represent such a diverse part of the state of Florida.
Yeah, and it spans 2 counties, right? So you got
spans
most of Monroe and Dade.
Yep, all of Monroe and zigzags in and out of the southern Dade County. West and Chrome Avenue to the Glades.
So Florida City, Homestead, into the Glades.
No,
and the park.
Rep. Chambliss has Florida City wholly.
Okay.
And he and I share about 50% of Homestead, so it zigzags in and out east and west of Homestead. Because of development on the corridor, US 1 corridor, Rep. Chambliss got consolidated.
Okay.
A little bit more because of just the population base, but it's very dynamic. The Air Force Base, the Raceway, and of course out to the west, the farming district, the neighborhoods, and then all the way up to the Broward County line to the west, and then out
really
to the
all the way up.
County line.
Okay.
Yeah, it's roughly 7,000 square miles, District 120. Mostly gators, but that's okay.
No Seminoles or hurricanes, just gators?
We just don't, no hurricanes. We don't talk hurricanes unless it's Miami hurricanes.
So I didn't realize it went all the way up to Broward. So you basically have the Everglades in your district.
Yes,
I mean,
and it goes all the way out to
most.
Dry Tortugas as well.
Wow.
So it goes 30 plus miles west of Key West.
Wow. So you really get to dabble in some fun stuff.
It's a journey.
Yeah.
When you have to go to meetings, it's a journey.
Just like today. And thank you. I think you're going to hold the record for the longest commute to this program. So thank you for doing that. I appreciate it.
My pleasure.
And so as state representative, what capacity do you serve in? Are you chairing any particular committees? Or?
No, I'm not chairing. I vice chaired technology with Demi Cabrera, Representative Cabrera. That was interesting. Mostly technology side of it. With a little bit of infrastructure in there, but my wheelhouse is the environment. Ultimately, that's my. I've been on state affairs. I was the whip of the appropriations committee, so proud to have been pointed to that. I think that leadership felt I could handle it, and then we did the best we could.
Yeah, I would say with the Everglades and Biscayne National Park and the Tortuga, all these amazing spaces that the environment would be your top
concern, I grew up in Florida Keys, so I've lived there my entire life, and my great grandparents were here in the beginning of the 1900s, so we are very familiar with South Florida in general.
So where in the Keys do you live, sir?
So I live in Islamorada.
Islamorada.
Yeah, roughly mile marker 82.
And I learned something new. I didn't realize Islamorada is a fairly young city and that you had a hand in that.
It's pretty new. 1997 we had the election to form the city, and by March of 98 we set our first council.
Okay.
I chaired the first meeting and immediately called for a new mayor. I did not want to be the mayor. I just wanted to go to work and raise my children. But it was a journey to get there. But I think in the end it's been good for the citizens of Islamorada. And good for Monroe County as well.
Yeah, well, it's such a fantastic city. I think it's a sport fishing capital of the world, if I'm not mistaken.
Capital of the world.
Yeah, I got to try that sometime.
Yeah. Come on down.
I tend to be more of the snorkeling type, so I go to the John Penny camp and all that.
That's fine. The water's been beautiful lately.
Has it? Okay, good. Yeah. Any issues with the coral bleaching? I know there was a lot of talk about that last year. Is that maybe not as bad as they were saying, or?
Well, I mean, the bleaching certainly occurred, and it's happening again to some degree. The verbiage is that the coral's dying. It doesn't mean they're dying. It just means they're releasing color to help keep themselves cooler, amongst other things that they do for that reason. But obviously it's a big issue, and now it's worldwide. Again, anything that's worldwide is a little bit frightening.
Yeah.
We lost sea urchins years ago around the world, and that's what is concerning, because then you ask yourself, what is really going on here? I think we all know what's going on technically. So the Earth is evolving. We just happen to be here to see it.
Right.
And we don't like it. And we're going to do the best we can to try and try and avoid what we can keep from happening. But yeah, it's right now we're concerned, and when summer's coming, and we don't need another 100-degree water temperature reading in midsummer. We certainly don't need hot waters in general because of the storms.
Yeah, we had a great April. Hopefully that trend continues into the summer.
We have our concerns right now with the fish down there spinning, particularly the sawfish.
Oh, yeah.
So research is being done. I'm sure that they'll figure it out, and don't know that we'll solve it, but it may have been happening for thousands of years. We don't know.
Wow.
But we know one thing, we're seeing it now. So.
Well, keep at it.
Yeah, we're not going to stop. We're not going to stop trying to save
help.
the environment. Trust me.
Yeah. So you also oversee, I guess, outside of the national parks and the environmental issues, you have a lot of agriculture in your district. So I imagine you're also involved in trying to sustain that community, which is under threat from development and other things. What are some of the things that are being done in Tallahassee on that front?
Well, from Tallahassee, trying to preserve through the certain programs that the state has where they can offer to buy development rights from the farmers and then let them hold their land in perpetuity, so and take development rights. But I'm trying to work with a program much like we do in Alamorada and the Florida Keys to transfer the development rights and trying to figure out a pathway for farmers to keep their land and make money.
Right.
Not just be able to give away a development right for a penny, but actually make money by having developers buy those development rights. And then, of course, putting that development in corridors where transportation's already in place, sewerage infrastructure's in place, power grids in place. Obviously, you talk transportation, modals and stuff. It's a multifaceted wheel, and a lot of its development. Look no further than out by Robert is here with those probably 1,000 units being built, but I don't see any roadways being expanded out that way.
Right.
It's going to be a nightmare, I'm afraid.
Yeah, Robert is here, but he may not be there much longer the way things are going.
The amount of houses being built out there, but again, without the infrastructure in place, I would have thought that they'd make the infrastructure first. Right. And then
that's not the way we do things in Miami-Dade County. We're always playing catch up. It seems.
I understand the development part of it, but I don't necessarily have to agree with it. But I'm not anti-development, but I do believe in progression.
And of course, the Florida Keys has been an area of critical state concern for a long time. So your development has been limited because of the carrying capacity of the overseas highway. Now, my understanding is that is being reconsidered now, that there's some trigger that has kind of been pulled.
Well, the trigger was 2023 when basically all development was to stop and there'd be no more building permits issued.
Wow.
Thus the TDR aspect of what's going on down there, where people had a duplex, decided to make it SFR, and then they had one right left over, so they could use that, sell it off to recoup some money. But so now this county has done a study that they thought there was 8,000 vacant lots. Turns out there's roughly 3,000 that are buildable. Now what they'll do next is they'll take those 3,000 and start culling them out as to how much and what, if anything, can technically be built. Because they already eliminated 5,000 in theory that were just not going to be buildable. Swampland, high hammock, and different species, butterflies, rats, snakes, everything you can think of that's endangered.
It's all
stop a development. Wow. So we'll see what happens, but I think that 3,000 will probably come down even more, at which point there'll be public input throughout the county. And then based on the input and the county commission's decision, they'll probably go to the state and say, we're done. Or they're going to go to the state and say, maybe 1,200 more, maybe two. Who knows what that number may be? But the citizens will have the input. And I think that's critical, because what's not being talked about at this point is the infrastructure.
Right.
We know that traffic in the Florida Keys is at best horrendous, particularly during season. And
one way in, one way out. Right?
Pretty much every day, starting at 3:30.
Yeah.
We get a lot of workers off the mainland because Hurricane Irma displaced a lot of our workforce housing. And so, but they're not going to stop working in the Florida Keys. They make more money working in the Florida Keys doing that job. So.
Right. And in fact, I think Miami-Dade County runs a bus route from Florida City down to at least Marathon. If I'm not mistaken.
Marathon, correct. And we were just discussing that on the way up, because they're riding an AC with internet to the Florida Keys in an hour. And it took us an hour and 15 minutes just to get from Homestead to here.
Well,
So-
there you have it. Take transit when you travel to the
transit
Keys.
works. It works in the Keys. I'd like
Yeah.
to see a better component of when they pull off the highway instead of just random stops blocking half a lane.
And I know we've been experimenting up here with something called on-demand transportation through this, largely through this company called Freebie.
Right.
I understand they're in Islamorada as well. Is
We
that
have
true?
Freebie now. It's
Okay,
been
great.
very well received. It's been amazing. I mean, it's very difficult to not like them.
Yeah.
You hit the app, they come pick you up, they drop you off, have a cocktail if you want, eat your lunch.
In the Keys, a cocktail? Never.
I know, never in the Keys. They'll take you to the grocery store and hit the app again. They'll come pick you up. For a tip. That's it. It's free.
Right.
It's being funded through multiple grants and federal funds and to some degree the village funds, but certainly well worth the effort.
That's great.
Yeah.
So speaking of the Keys and cocktails, you actually, I believe, sponsored my favorite bill of the session, if not ever, which was to rename A1A after Jimmy Buffett.
Jimmy Buffett, yeah.
And I believe that passed, correct?
It did pass, and the governor signed it right away. So
I'm a huge parrot head, I have to admit. And so, thank you for that.
Yeah, well,
I think it was a well-deserved honor for him.
Representative Clemens and I, he ran it because I just thought he was first up. I didn't know he was a parrot head, but he is.
A few of us in Florida.
So he and I ran that bill. Yeah, I think it's worthwhile, and I think it's something that is well deserved.
Yeah. You ever get a chance to meet him?
Jimmy Buffett? Yes,
Yeah.
I have met Jimmy Buffett.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah. Yep, in Islamorada and at the Caribbean Club.
It sounds like a story you're not allowed to
No,
tell
we're
me.
not gonna- no, that was when he was young and I was younger. But it was a great night.
I can only imagine. So let's talk about some of the mobility projects in your district. I understand that the Overseas Highway has been under some kind of renovation, and if you're going to start increasing development again, I would imagine you may even need to expand Overseas Highway. I'm not sure if that's even possible, but
Yeah.
what are your thoughts on?
I think that's going to be the dagger on any more development ultimately.
Mhm.
I mean, I would not close the doors on the fact that they may come to a delicate balance between these infamous taking cases that you hear, which are not as easily done as most people think. I'm in real estate and it's buyer beware. If you wanted to buy a vacant lot from me, I'm going to tell you straight up, you may not get a building permit. And I'm pretty sure a judge is probably going to say, you were told this is a limited growth area. So if you bought a vacant lot and you didn't apply for a permit way back when you bought it, that's sort of on you. And you're probably not going to get $1 million for that lot. But I think, there's really no place to widen the roads in the Keys. We've got to replace the 7 Mile Bridge right now, is on a fast track for 7 Mile Bridge and Long Key Bridge. So 2 of the longest bridges in the Florida Keys are going to be fast tracked for replacement right now because of infrastructure.
How are they going to do that while getting people through there?
I think it's next week we have a Zoom meeting with FDOT and stuff as they start to do the public outreach. I don't know where they're going to build the new 7 Mile Bridge.
So they're building a new one.
A new one.
Not necessarily just upgrading the existing.
No.
So this will be the third bridge.
This will be the third bridge.
Right, after Flagler's original and...
Yep, and then Long Key Bridge, they spent 3 years up, trying to keep piecemeal it together, and it's ultimately falling down. It's not in danger of falling down, but it's critical to the degree it needs to be replaced. And so that's going to be a nightmare in and of itself. We're tearing up highways now for water lines. So yeah, transportation is an issue in the Florida Keys, and it's an issue everywhere.
Everywhere. Well, as you said, you're on your way up here. You were fine in the Keys until you got to Miami-Dade County.
Yes, and the number of people heading south into the Keys on Card Sound Road was literally bumper to bumper, much like it was from Homestead to Cutler Ridge, bumper to bumper.
The weekend started early for some folks.
I'd like to get that Card Sound Road widened a little bit and make it a little bit safer for those that, work in and out of the North Key Largo area.
Mm-hmm. Is that a possibility?
Yeah, we've started the process. We got upgraded. We had some, some restriping, has a new overlay, put some signage in, let people know it's better, but it's not wider. There's nowhere to pull off if you get a flat tire.
Right.
It's nowhere to go if somebody crosses the line. It needs to be done. Dade County does have some information and some plans that they're working on. I like to approach it as an environmental project. That way, saltwater intrusion with that man-made canal to the so-called west. Fill that in, widen the road. You kill 2 birds with 1 stone.
Just make me a promise. Keep Alabama Jacks there.
Oh, Alabama Jacks has to stay. Absolutely, has to stay. Yeah.
No eminent domaining, Alabama.
No.
Like there'd be an uproar.
County. That would be Dade County.
Is that in Dade County? Okay,
That's
I didn't
Dade
realize.
County. Yep, it's on the other side of that little toll booth.
That's where the dividing line is
Yep,
at
right,
the toll.
just right there.
I learned something every day on this
Right
program.
there. Yeah.
So, sir, tell me about some of the other things you're involved in outside of your private and public life. Are you with any organizations?
You know, I not really at this point. I mean, I've
You got your hands full.
yeah, my rep Lee Young is my LA Lee Young is we had that discussion yesterday coming back from Key West. Like, I got off a board this year just to enjoy the golf tournament on the water. But over the course of time, I've been to take stock with children, Florida Keys Electric Co-op, pretty much anything that's volunteer. That's what you sort of do in the Keys. And pretty much even in big cities like Miami.
Yeah, of course.
You just don't see it as easily because it's just the number of people.
Well, you're a very tight-knit community.
It's just
so
tight-knit.
small.
And,
what's the population of Islamorada?
Islamorada is about just at 6,900 people. So
That's
it's
it?
very small.
Right.
It's very small.
What's the population in the winter?
Yeah, well, that blows up to probably 40,000.
I imagine.
But the entire population of the Florida Keys is just 80,000. So it's 120 miles long with 80,000 people.
And most of that is in Key West.
Yeah, Key West is probably around 38,000, something like that. So.
Do all of you get along down there, all the communities?
Yeah, absolutely. We do. I think that having grown up there was a time when Key West got everything, every penny, and nothing came north. But now, the way the county and the cities work together, I mean, look, we are, even though it's 120 miles, we all have the same exact issues. It's water quality.
Right.
It's our bread and butter is water quality, so we have to get it right. We're central sewer now. We have all central sewage in the Florida Keys, and the water quality has exponentially gotten 10 times better.
Right.
I mean, just 10 times better. So now phase 2 is fill canals in to 7 feet. Most of those canals were dug to create the subdivisions where the homes are, but they were dug to 30, 40, 50 feet deep. So now they're being filled back in to around 77 feet.
Oh, interesting.
Which
what does that do?
It creates water flow, and so you have healthy water in those canals. Otherwise, below the 14-foot mark, you basically have no dissolved oxygen, so you have nothing growing. The canals that they've done, literally, what seems like overnight, but within 6 months, turn into aquariums.
Wow.
Coral grows. They're crystal clear. The manatees are back. Fish are thriving because they have a habitat that was not existent prior to being filled in.
And it's still deep enough to accommodate your typical sailboat or something like that.
Yeah, plenty deep enough to not hinder anybody's boating,
So speaking of boating, I know from time to time they initiate a ferry service from Miami-Dade County down to the Keys. And then it goes away. Is there just not the demand for it, or what do you think is happening? I know the one from Tampa to the Keys is ongoing.
Fort Myers.
It's actually closer, right?
Yeah, Fort Myers to Key West, that's very popular. I think it's a combination of demand, and let's face it, if you're not a boater and the weather turns a little snotty on you,
not a pleasant trip.
you're probably not having a good ride, and then again, where do you stop? And you have to have other transportation mobiles. So it just doesn't fit. It fits perfect in Key West. So from Fort Myers to Key West, you can take a day trip to Key West from Fort Myers or vice versa, and that works perfect. You're going hub to hub. You have something to do. It's great ports. So it's just the water taxis have just never really panned out in the Keys. It's just too linear.
From here?
Yeah. Well, even in the Keys, they've tried a couple
between the Keys?
water taxis. They're just Freebie's been the best thing so far. Like they're electric, we talk about carbon footprint. All of that stuff comes into play, and they just do a great job. I don't understand why everybody else in the Keys doesn't have them.
So I was going to ask, any idea or any discussions taking place about that expanding that to other communities?
I think they'll ultimately expand throughout the communities. We had it only on one island initially. So when I was on the village council, we was only on Upper Matacumbe. It was only electric golf carts. Then it became so popular with not only tourists, but locals. Turned out locals were riding it more than the tourists were. Good. And then, so they brought in one car, and they go over the bridge, and then they got, I don't know how many cars now, 4 or 5, and they'll take you actually outside the village boundary into the shopping center, in Tavernier, so you can go grocery shopping there. So it works well, and it's all 4 islands now, plus across the bridge to the shopping center.
I imagine students even take them to school, right? Because I know up here we see that a lot,
Everybody rides those things.
That's great.
From dinner to, and tourists do use them, but a lot of the hotels now have their own little shuttle buses. It's okay. It spurred something on, and DUIs are down, traffic accidents are down. I mean, all the stuff that should be affecting it in a positive way is occurring. So hard to beat.
And are you aware of anything happening in kind of the bicycle pedestrian space in the Keys, Isla Morada, in your district, in terms of kind of mine. Okay, and in which direction?
I just think I think that in general, transportation hubs, whether it's FDOT or even local communities in their city-owned streets, do not do enough for pedestrians. We should not be leading the nation in pedestrians being hit.
Right. I know it's an issue in Miami-Dade, so it's in Monroe County as well.
Absolutely, it's an issue in Monroe County.
It makes sense. People are trying to cross that overseas highway. They get impatient.
You cannot cross that road during season. It's very difficult to cross that road even out of season. Yeah. People pass in the turn lane. There's just so many issues related to pedestrian, including bicycles. We had a pedestrian overpass. The village council that after I left decided to kill it.
Really?
Like, it was terrible move. Why are you going to kill it? Because it's ugly. No, you know what's ugly is somebody in a body bag. That's ugly. Mm-hmm. And it's at our park. Kids should not have to run across the highway. People shouldn't have to run across the highway to make it across the road. I don't necessarily think they're beautiful, but you can make them pretty enough to make them effective, and that, more importantly, they're effective. They keep people from dying. And that's usually what the idea is.
Now, at the end of the day, it's a state highway, so I would imagine the state as it's
a state and federal highway.
Is it? Okay, that's true.
It is US 1. It is US 1.
But it's not a local road. It's
a state road. Yeah, US 1's a state road.
So as they look to renovate, upgrade the overseas highway, is FDOT having those conversations about bicycle pedestrian infrastructure?
They're doing a much better job. Actually, the one plan that on Card Sound, for instance, has a pedestrian mode aspect to it. It has a bicycle lane separate from the highway. Like, right now through the Keys, they widen the road a little bit and put a little white stripe of the bicycle in it that's 3 feet wide. So you're riding your bicycle next to a guy going 60. I don't find that comforting
60
myself.
with his phone in his hand, by the way.
Exactly. But, I think ultimately pedestrian safety is something that we need to pay more attention to. We really do. We're coming here and a lady's rollerblading down the middle of the street in this traffic. I'm like, wow. But she had nowhere else to go. There was nowhere else to go, but I mean, not exactly the safest scenario. Yeah.
And now, introduce the micromobility, so the scooters and the e-bikes, and they're everywhere.
They're everywhere.
Are those allowed in Monroe County?
They are. I don't know. We have a lot of them, though. It's not really kicked off yet. I think the freebies sort of taking that stuff just to the nth degree. And of course, we have a lot of golf carts now that are street legal, because you can ride off of US 1 in the back streets. And traverse like Plantation Key 5 miles on the back road. As long as it does 35 miles an hour, you're good to go with a license plate, seat belts and blinkers, and you're ready.
Well, all this talk about the Florida Keys makes me want to go. So, I have a trip planned there in October, but I might have to move it up. So I'm missing it. Yeah. So, well, listen, thank you for making that very long drive up here in that traffic to be on this program. Thank you for everything you do as a public servant. Yeah, well, and please keep up the great work, sir.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you for being on.
Thank you so much.
Right. Folks, that's all the time we have for this episode of Mobility Matters. Please join us here every other week, Thursdays from 9 to 10 a.m. We'd like to thank our partners in this endeavor, community newspapers, for hosting us in this lovely studio and producing the program. If you're interested in learning more about the CITT and opportunities to serve on our board as a volunteer, or to serve as a CITT ambassador, if you're a regular transit riders, we could use your observations. Please visit our website, miamidade.gov/CITT. Thank you. See you next time.